What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Under Review. I'm KO the X Factor, and we look at all the latest and greatest games that come out from a majority of the consoles. This week, we are looking at LEGO DC Villains. Came out on all major platforms, and I have to say, TT Games has mastered what it feels like to play Legos. And having developed countless number of LEGO-based titles in the past, their core formula has not varied much from series to series. And with the new DC Villains, that still holds true. But that doesn't mean it's a bad thing. Some may look at this game and discover that the story is not all that impressive. And the core, basically the core mechanics have not much variation to them. But the game still plays good, and if you're a comic book fan and just a fan of some of these characters, you're going to love this game. Now, there is one notable difference with this game as opposed to other versions. You actually get to create your own LEGO villain for this world. Now, I'm not talking about like a quick build, which you can choose to do if you want. If you don't want to take the time to kind of build your own character, you can choose from a preset character. But it actually has a pretty in-depth character creation. From the head, the legs, the body, the hands, and even to their powers and weapons. Now, the cool thing is that you earn unlockables throughout the course of the game, and you can change your character up whenever you like. The main ability of your character is he can absorb different powers from other superheroes, and he can then choose how to use them and where from. Now, what do I mean by that? For example, one of the first things you get is you're going to learn a laser blast power, and you can equip it to your character and then choose how he's going to use that. He can either shoot it from his hands, his fingertips, his head, or his eyes. This adds a unique level of fun to the game where I found myself wanting to play with this character more than any of the other DC villains. Now, the story, unfortunately, is a bit of a disappointment. So you basically start the game off, you break Lex and his cast of supervillains out of prison. And then when the Justice League shows up, they are taken down by the Justice Syndicate, which leaves Earth completely open to pretty much a hostile takeover. Harley Quinn can actually kind of see the true intentions of the Syndicate and forms a group of her own, like supervillains, to take them down. Much like Suicide Squad, anybody? It's a very typical Suicide Squad type of story, making the villains feel more like the heroes than anything else. Kind of like lazy writing, if you ask me. But the voice acting is great and actually has a lot of notable characters and actors that you'd recognize. Most notably, Kevin Conroy assumes the role of Batman again, and Mark Hamill, even though he said he was done voicing the Joker, is back as the Joker. And the voice acting works brilliantly throughout the entire course of the game. And the game world is it's an open world. However, a majority of the story is played with specific characters, much like any other LEGO game. However, free fall like the free play mode is not available until after you complete the main story. This is not like the LEGO City open world, but more like LEGO Batman 2 and 3. Meaning the world has a bunch of points of interest, however, until you beat the game, they are unreachable. And the world is actually pretty big. However, the worlds are also connected. So you have Gotham City, Smallville, Metropolis, all connected together instead of being separate cities that you have to go to. So they feel like actually one large city as opposed to three separate cities. Now, the LEGO games have not seen huge amounts of upgrades over the years, and the formula has not deviated much. But that doesn't mean that it still isn't a fun game to play. It is very fun, and the fact that I actually get to create my own villain that plays along the likes of Luthor and Joker, I'm impressed. I may not have much to offer in the way of like plot or variety, but it builds upon what has been the franchise's most popular asset: building Legos and tearing them apart. Pure entertainment and interesting gameplay. So for that, we gave Lego DC Villains a very solid 8 out of 10. It's a great family game. It's a great game for your kids. So if you're looking for a game for your kids, especially with Christmas coming up around the corner, this is a great addition to it. Not only that, especially if they're comic book fans, they get to create their own villain to play along the sides of some of the great villains of DC Universe. So that's going to do it for us on KOD X Factor. This is under review, and until next time, game on.